He urged me to embrace the unthinkable in a fervent attempt to save our relationship. The reality of what occurred will leave you completely astonished. As we set out on this journey, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more engaging and remarkable stories. The room is enveloped in shadows, lit only by the soft glow of streetlights filtering through the curtains. I sit at the edge of our bed, my fingers trembling as they hold the soft fabric of my nightgown. The atmosphere is thick with a noticeable tension, one that has been building for years. We are now nearing a summit that neither of us can ignore.
Sarah.
His voice, a soft whisper, slices through the silence with sharp precision. Would you be able to help me with a task, please? I look at him, my husband, his face a mix of desire and immediacy. His eyes, once filled with warmth and familiarity, now hold a shadowy depth that sends a shiver through my core. What is it that concerns you, Mark? My voice escapes, colored by a mixture of fear and resignation. He pauses, his gaze wandering to the corner of the room where our dog, Max, lies peacefully, oblivious to the storm brewing around us. I wish for you to share a bed with Max while I observe. The words resonate, a disturbing request that appears to challenge the core of what we have built together. My heart races, pounding against my chest, as if it longs to escape the burden of his words. You can't be serious, I manage to utter, my voice a mixture of disbelief and horror. I am, he declares, his voice adopting a resolute tone.
It is essential for me.
If you take this step, I promise you, our marriage can remain as it once was. I look at him intently, searching deeply to uncover the man I married, the man I thought I knew. All that meets my gaze is an unfamiliar figure, driven by desires that escape my comprehension, and if I refuse, I incite, my resolve strengthening. Then we're finished, he declares with a cold and unwavering stare. The space feels constricted, the walls closing in as the weight of his ultimatum surrounds me. As I contemplate our shared existence, the joy and affection we once held dear now appear overshadowed by this distorted expectation. All right, I whisper, the sound hanging on my tongue like the sharpness of ash. Should I choose to move forward with this decision, the concluding chapter of our marriage will be penned this evening.
Retreat is not an option.
He nods, a deliberate and thoughtful gesture, shaping our fate. I get up, my legs shaky under me, and approach Max, who awakens, his tail wagging with a blend of confusion and happiness. Behind me, I feel Mark's breath becoming more rapid, his excitement intensifying the already dense atmosphere. The atmosphere is electric, the stage carefully set for a performance whose consequences are still beyond our understanding. As I reach for the door of our bedroom, the lock clicks shut, echoing with a sharpness reminiscent of a gunshot. It causes me to reflect on the path that brought us here, how love can transform into something completely unfamiliar. As I find myself at the edge of a line I never imagined I would reach, a feeling of awe envelopes me. What comes next? What happens when the door swings open again, and we step into the remnants of what was once our life? The next morning, the house radiates a strange atmosphere, a hollow shell of what it once was. I move through the rooms, my footsteps echoing in the emptiness. Every step resonates with the memories of the night before. The sunlight streams through the windows, its rays playfully dancing, casting long shadows that stretch across the floor like quiet reproaches. In the kitchen, the true heart of our home, I recall the laughter we once enjoyed over morning coffee. The silence now surrounds all, a heavy presence that echoes deeply. I pour my drink, observing the steam rise in gentle swirls, but it does little to dispel the chill that has settled deep within my bones. As I sit at the table, my gaze drifts to the empty chair opposite me, a quiet reminder of the presence Mark once brought to this space. The absence lingers in the atmosphere, a profound void where his presence should be felt. My mind is filled with thoughts, cycling through the moments, trying to grasp how we reached this point. The phone's sharp ring cuts through the quiet, interrupting the stream of my thoughts. It is my sister Laura, her voice laced with concern. "Sarah, how have you been coping lately?" she asks, her voice gentle yet curious. "I'm managing," I reply, my voice flat, hiding the turmoil inside. The quantity is truly staggering to process. She releases a sigh, heavy with comprehension. "Would you like me to visit?" This is not a moment for being alone. I experience a sense of hesitation. The idea of companionship serves as both a refuge and a source of unease, a realization I ultimately come to embrace. I need a moment to contemplate. After the call concluded, I wandered back to the bedroom, the exact spot where the nightmare of the previous night had taken place. The bed lies unmade, sheets in disarray, left behind in my swift exit. I shift my focus, losing myself in the familiar routine of packing. Each item I place in my suitcase appears to hold a piece of my life, meticulously preserved within its boundaries. The doorbell rings, pulling me abruptly from my reverie. Mark stands there, his expression a complex blend of guilt and determination. He stands at the threshold, pausing before stepping into the unknown. "Sarah, could we please have a discussion?" His voice carries a quiet intensity, infused with a hint of desperation. I nod, stepping back just enough to let him in, while keeping a measured distance. In the living room, we are surrounded by a silence heavy with unspoken thoughts. "I never thought it would come to this," he starts, his eyes turned away from me. I contemplated. It might have had the ability to repair our broken connection. In a certain manner, is it possible to repair what has been damaged? My voice rises, tinged with incredulity. By breaking us in the most incomprehensible way. He looks down, his hands moving in a steady motion of clasping and unclasping in his lap. It might appear completely illogical, but I felt an increasing separation between us. I thought that by taking this step, it could close that gap, enabling you to see me in a different light. I look at him, this man with whom I once shared my life, now changed into a complete stranger. "Mark, you have shattered everything. This marks a definitive turning point." He nods, a single tear escaping down his cheek. "I understand. I wish to express that it was never my intention for things to end this way." The conversation progresses as a simple formality, a necessary step toward the unavoidable goodbye. As he leaves, the sound of the door closing resonates like the final, undeniable strike to the core of our bond. Once again in solitude, I find myself absorbed in the task of packing, each item a touching reminder of a life that has faded away. The weight of the decision is significant, the way forward obscured by uncertainty, yet one clear truth rises from the fog. The life I once cherished has reached its conclusion. From this wreckage, I must find a way to rebuild. The home, once a sanctuary, now feels like a mausoleum of memories. As I pack, each item feels like a weight on my heart, a bittersweet reminder of the life I once thought was mine. My hands move with a specific rhythm, folding clothes and gently wrapping delicate items, as if in this action I could somehow contain the pain and confusion that resides within. The quiet is broken by my phone buzzing again, a message from my friend Emily, asking if I need help. I contemplate her suggestion, the idea of someone else observing my embarrassment making me hesitate. Yet the solitude is quite intense. I reply with a clear, "Yes, please." As I wait for Emily to arrive, I sit on the edge of the bed, the same bed where everything fell apart. A picture on the nightstand captures my attention. On our wedding day, Mark and I stood together, glowing with what I felt was an unbreakable love. I lift it gently, my fingers gliding over our faces, which now appear to belong to strangers. Emily steps in, her presence providing a quiet comfort. Silently, she starts to help with the packing, her movements characterized by a calm effectiveness. Her empathy resonates profoundly, while still respecting my need for solitude. "Sarah, Would you be interested in having a conversation about it? She finally asks, her tone soft, neither forceful nor commanding, but instead welcoming. I shake my head, uncertainty tinging my words. I present her with a thoughtfully arranged collection of books to set aside. In the stillness of our work, the only melody is the gentle whisper of paper and the occasional clink of items settling into their boxes. As I enter the living room, my gaze lands on the couch where Mark and I once shared moments, his arm around me, surrounding me with a warmth that now feels like a distant memory. Emily meets my eyes and gently rests her hand on my arm. Sometimes, the hardest part is letting go of what we once held to be true. Her words cut through my numbness, precise and relentless. I nod, a surge of tears welling up again. I was utterly taken aback. What might drive him to ask such a question? What led him to think that would repair our relationship? Emily releases a gentle sigh, settling next to me, her hand softly placed over mine. People find unique ways to cope with their pain. Perhaps he pursued an intense experience to break the monotony, to awaken a sense of emotion once again. However, that does not excuse his actions. Once again, the doorbell rings. This time, it is my sister Laura. She enters, a line of concern marking her forehead, her eyes scanning the chaos that remains after my departure. "I've brought some of your things from my place," she says, softly setting a box down on the table. "I thought these could be helpful for you." The three of us continue with our packing, each lost in our own thoughts. Laura's presence creates a rich interplay of tension, filled with the comfort of family support, but also tinged with a subtle sense of judgment. Her eyes reveal the unasked question, a quiet curiosity she holds back from expressing. As time goes by, the house grows more and more empty, not just of my belongings, but of the lively existence I once envisioned within these walls. As I seal each box, I feel a piece of myself being enclosed too, the part that treasured Mark, that had the courage to envision our future together. The sun sinks beneath the horizon, casting orange tones through the windows, turning the walls into a tapestry of parting colors. As Emily and Laura left, they made a promise to meet again the next day. Once more, I find myself in solitude, encircled by boxes, the house echoing with the quiet of what once existed. Feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, I pick up the phone and start to dial the number of a therapist I've been considering for months. The time has come, not just to leave this place, but to confront the turmoil that lies within me. The conversation is brief, with a meeting scheduled for the next day. As I lean back on the couch, hesitant to yield to the bed that now carries the burden of unsettling memories, I reflect on the day's occurrences. The challenges are significant: rebuilding my life, understanding my own identity outside of this relationship, and healing from the shock of betrayal and unfaithfulness. As the night deepens, my determination grows stronger. With the dawn of tomorrow, I will embark on a new journey. Not just a shift in location, but a deep understanding of who I truly am. The journey ahead is daunting, filled with obstacles that are not yet visible to me. Nevertheless, one truth persists as undeniable. This will not define who I am. Amidst the ruins, I will find my strength. From this, I will rise. The ambience in the room has grown noticeably colder. The warmth of the day gradually diminished as the sun sank beneath the horizon. In this solitude, I discover myself enveloped by the traces of a home that once echoed with happiness and comfort. The boxes surround me, quiet observers of the unraveling of my being. Each serves as a testament to the choices made and the limits transcended. The silence envelopes the surroundings, a heavy blanket that suppresses any hint of peace. I pick up the photograph again, looking at the younger versions of us, brimming with happiness. The image blurs into a mist as tears gather in my eyes, grieving not just for Mark's absence, but for the loss of the person I used to be before the events of last night. The quiet is interrupted by the abrupt buzz of my phone. A message from my therapist confirming our appointment for tomorrow. Seeking help and acknowledging my need for it feels like a surrender, yet it also signifies a crucial step towards reclaiming a part of myself. I place the phone down, my gaze drifting to the window, where the night sky reveals itself as a canvas brushed in rich blues and purples, with stars softly twinkling against the backdrop of city lights. In this moment of stillness, the weight of my decision to separate from Mark envelopes me. The burden lies not just in the act of leaving, but in the understanding that I have stepped into unknown territory, a place where I must navigate my own path. The sound of the doorbell interrupts my thoughts, bringing me back to the present moment. The hour is late, and I do not expect any visitors. Approaching the door, I feel a mix of anxiety and curiosity, my heart pounding as I step closer. Upon opening the door, I am met by a small, unassuming envelope waiting on the doorstep. No return address, just my name elegantly written in a familiar style, the handwriting of Mark. My hands shake as I lift it, the paper vibrating with a charged energy in my grasp. In the heart of the kitchen, I sit at the table that has seen countless shared meals, the very place where he once knelt and asked for my hand in marriage. The envelope seems to vibrate with unexpressed emotions. Pausing to gather my composure, I carefully open it, uncovering a letter inside.
Sarah.
I recognize that words cannot change what has happened, nor can they heal the hurt I have caused. Last night, I engaged in a viewing that I thought would revive our connection, but it ultimately dismantled the essence of our bond. I have realized the deep impact of my failures, how my own complicated desires have led us to this point. I do not ask for your forgiveness, as I recognize that the moment may not be right, if it ever comes to be. I would like to express that I am seeking help. I have arranged a session with a therapist, not just for our relationship, but for my own personal well-being. I aim to explore the reasons for my conviction that this was the solution and why I permitted us to grow so distant. Sarah, you deserve so much more. The truth has always been clear. In time, I hope you find peace, even if it comes without me. Mark. The letter escapes my fingers, fluttering gently as it falls onto the table. The words weave together, bringing forth a feeling of solace alongside a revival of anguish. His acknowledgement of his need for assistance appears to be a small victory, but it is overshadowed by the harsh reality that our marriage has reached its conclusion. The night stretches on without end, and within its hold, my resolve strengthens. This letter goes beyond a simple goodbye. It captures the essence of Mark's last words.
It is also mine.
This signifies a shift from the past, sparking the beginning of my journey toward healing and self-discovery. I get up, moving through the rooms of the house with a fresh sense of purpose. In every room I enter, I see not just the traces of what has been lost, but the possibilities of what could still emerge. The living room, a place where we once danced to our tune, carries the potential for new beginnings. The kitchen, a space where we engaged in the craft of cooking, transformed into the place where I found the pleasure of preparing meals for myself. Holding the letter tightly, I walk toward the fireplace, its chilly hearth a bittersweet reminder of the warmth it used to provide. I strike a match, watching as the flame delicately caresses the edge of the paper. The flames consume the words, the ink contorting and deepening, turning Mark's confession into nothing but ashes. As the last traces of the letter disintegrate into ash, a spark ignites within me, awakening a fire that had long been asleep, a flicker of determination, a will to persevere. The house, previously a desolate structure filled with empty rooms and an eerie quiet, has evolved into a vibrant space of fresh starts. I recline on the couch, wrapping a blanket around myself, searching for both warmth and a feeling of comfort. The night unfolds infinitely ahead of us. The shadows beyond reflect the turmoil that simmers within. As I close my eyes, I discover that I am not simply drifting into sleep. I am beginning a new adventure, a domain where I crafted the narrative. If this story struck a chord with you, please think about subscribing, liking, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. This will allow us to create more engaging stories for you.